This film study video is going to focus on Travon Walker. I'm going to show about 16 or 18 plays from his rookie year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Clearly, he did not put up eye-popping numbers as a rookie for a number one pick, but I think he showed a ton of potential. I hate to use that word because I know it gets thrown around a lot for him. I guess I should say he showed a ton of ability to be effective against the run specifically. Less so consistently against the pass, but I thought there were reps, there were snaps and situations later in the season, especially in the playoffs, I thought, where he looked tremendously effective and explosive. I'll show you some of those plays here in this film. Clearly, his relative weakness, though, must be, at this point in time, in his pass rush production, even if you go back and look at college film. But at 6'5", 275, with a rare blend of speed, power, and explosiveness, tantalizing pick at number one. Can't blame the Jacksonville Jaguars at all. I really hate to do what I'm about to do, to be honest with you. I really abhor focusing on stats. Really, I don't like looking at rankings or rating services early in a video, but in this case, I wanted to do it to illustrate how unbelievable Travon Walker was in Week 1 against Washington, his first NFL game. A sack, a tackle for loss, another quarterback hit, an interception. The sack you'll see later in the film, and in one of the plays against a screen, the tackle for loss, you'll see the interception came on another screen to his side, I believe. He was just consistently involved in plays in that game. And if you look at his first 8 games of the season, in 6 of those games he had 4 or 5 tackles, and he's given you a quarterback hit in most of those games as well. There did seem to be somewhat of a drop-off statistically from Week 9 onward. Now, I do believe he dealt with an injury later in the year. I'm talking about from Week 14 to about Week 17, somewhere around there. You can even see it reflected somewhat in the snap counts. And then, of course, he missed 2 games, Week 15 against Dallas and then Week 16 against the Jets. I do wonder, after watching the film here, and we're going to fire up some plays here in a moment, if he'd be better served playing on one side, not switching based on the tight end, which is often called the closed side, or the weak side, the open side. Josh Allen's an underrated dude, and I would like to get a film study done on him as well. Arden Key has got a great motor. He's an effective pass rusher, underrated guy. I wanted him to sign with my Ravens a year ago in the offseason. I do think Travon Walker is a pass rusher who could go off in 2023. I wonder if the quickest and most efficient way for the Jaguars to make that happen, however, is to let him play on one side of the field, focus on his technique on that side. So let's get started with some of the film and some of the plays. We're going to check out some run action first. One of the things that might have worked against him was his versatility on film at Georgia. And as we let these plays loop through, you'll see that he's moved around a lot from one side to the other, and in fact sometimes is kicked inside as a 3 technique or a wide 5, a tilted 5. Jags moved him around. Very solid against the run based on the film that I watched, which at this point is like 7 games of his. Seems like he was on the tight end side often. And I think he showed his ridiculous athleticism on some of these plays in short spaces. I don't mean athleticism like out in space. I mean the athleticism and the just train wreck power and explosiveness that he has to disrupt blocking schemes while oftentimes dealing with contact, to be honest with you. Now, look, the Jags got bullied by Dameon Pierce in their first matchup with the Texans. But Travon Walker did. He had he turned in 2 plays in that game that were really impressive. The first one I showed you was setting the right tackle inside, then diving in the B gap to help out on the play. And then this insane spin against the right guard. Despite being off balance, I don't think in a great body position to actually pull this off, he's able to create enough leverage while holding or trying to frame up the right guard with his right arm. He doesn't actually, get him pushed off. One of my favorite plays to see from him during the year. And look, if you don't know, like, the Jags have multiple talented players. I'm a big fan of Devin Lloyd as a rookie. I really like Chad Muma. That pick was great for him out of Wyoming. I mentioned Arden Key and Josh Allen, who's another underrated, super talented guy. But to me, Walker shows up often against the run on film. You can usually find Foye Oluokun at the bottom of the pile as well, but Walker gets to the point of attack, whether he's to the read side, whether he's being blocked or somebody's trying to scoop him like the tight end here, whether he's away from the running back. I'm going to give him credit for something that I think a lot of people may not. I think he's really dedicated to his read. We know he was coached extremely hard and extremely well in college. I think that commitment to his reads, could hurt him overall in terms of sacks. He seems to be a guy who plays true to his key and doesn't guess. Now, there's certain some people, I guess, would say that you've got to have a little bit of awareness, the down and distance, et cetera, the formation. Certainly there's an element there. Don't get me wrong with that. But I don't know that that applies to Travon Walker. For real. I think he's excellent at not letting the reads distract him, not letting the eye candy distract him from the read. Now, we're switching over to pass plays here, to be honest with you. This first play does not apply to the point that I'm making, so I'll pick up that point again here in a moment. Very clean, precise pass rush here for his first career sack against Washington in week 1. Really overmatched that right tackle. There is zero hint of selfishness about Travon Walker when you watch the film. No idea what kind of dude he is. I'm just extrapolating based on the film. I think it's great to see. Zero selfishness, excuse me. He could get an easy sack on this play against Detroit. It's a blowout win for the Lions. This is a touchdown where all the keys are taking him away. You got the guard pulling, which is not necessarily what an outside linebacker DN is going to be reading. You got a little counter step by the back and then going the opposite direction. Watch Goff ends up having his back turned. And one of the things that we've often talked about, versus under center versus shotgun plays, particularly the pistol, is look where the ball is. I mean, you could almost draw a line between the ball and Walker's helmet. What's in the way? Goff's body. So Walker doesn't see that. He plays true to his key here. Now, I think that either Walker or Foye Oluokun, one of them, needs to be on boot if you respect Jared Goff's ability to get out of the pocket at all. I don't think those guys are to blame, to be honest with you. The two DBs for the Jags, who both have their eyes in the backfield and have no awareness of the pick rub concept that's developing right in front of them, for me, I would say those guys are more to blame for this. Now, let's get this back to Travon Walker, though. Some guys who are in this position right here as edge defenders, they're playing for their money. And you can't blame them. And they're playing for their stats. So when they get run away, and you know that the complementary action to that is the quarterback booting out to your side, they're going to veer off the quarterback immediately. Chandler Jones is a guy who I've seen do this many times. I've seen Tyus Bowser do it. I've seen TJ Watt do it. None of those guys are selfish, but maybe there's some situational awareness that needs to develop in Travon Walker. I don't think so. Nothing about this play screams boot to me from the standpoint of what Travon Walker is reading. Now, is it also possible that Ben Johnson, an extremely prepared and brilliant mind offensively for the Lions, knew where Travon Walker was going to line up and knew what Travon Walker would do? He would stay true to his read. That's possible. That's the way that football works. You find out what a player reads, and you try to put him in that situation because now you know what he's going to do, and you can build a play off of it. In this case, it's a boot action with a pick rub concept on the outside. You got a pin down block by number 8, and then there's a pick on the outside by DJ Chark, I believe. Walker runs with the run action because he stays true to his read. DBs for the Jags not paying attention at all, staring in the backfield. Wide open, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Even worse off because it was man-to-man, if you ask me. When Walker plays downhill, however, he is a freight train on the edge. And I would say that I think he would be better served to play on the edge on most snaps and not get kicked inside like you'll see in some of these films. I would hope to see him develop like a couple of go-to moves out there against tackles and or tight ends, including a speed rush. Now, he's not really a speed rush guy at this point. He's not a tremendous speed rusher, especially compared with his other set of skills, all right? More strength-oriented, no doubt about it. And at 6'5", 275, people would say, well, how much bend does he have? I understand that. My point is I think he's still got to develop a speed rush and have it be something that tackles have to worry about more so than just him stepping down and playing the run first. I think there's got to be situations where the Jags kind of let him go. Now, they seem to do that more with Josh Allen on the other side. So, not saying they need to change their defensive scheme at all. I think they're going to be in the lead a lot in 2023. I think they're going to win a lot of games, and I think these guys are going to have more opportunities to rush the passer. I believe they started off 2-5 last year, but I could be wrong in terms of record. I think they're going to be way better. I think they're going to play most of 2023 more similar to how the Jags did at the end of 2022. For me, I'd like to see Travon Walker on the edge as much as possible, especially in pass rush situations. I did not think he looked tremendously adept dealing with guards. And even though I'm not showing you a lot of that film, I did watch a significant amount of that film. It didn't seem to me against the pass that he was going to win a lot of those battles. I feel like a speed component needs to be installed more in him as a default strategy, as a default go-to move. Maybe even let him focus on one side, which I kind of mentioned earlier. Tremendous awareness you see here. There's twice in this game against Washington in week 1 they tried to screen him. Once he made a tackle and once he got an interception. I actually kind of feel guilty watching Travon Walker film because I will be completely honest. I was not one who thought he should have been drafted number 1 overall. It's not that I didn't think he would develop into a spectacular player or that all the skills were there. I love how he was coached at Georgia. I mean, just hearing about the environment there and the way that the players are coached and the way they respond to it, and along with the athleticism with Travon Walker and the no BS attitude, at least from the way you see him play, you got a complete package. But I was not one who thought that he should go number 1 overall. I would have preferred, personally, on a personal level, I would have preferred like an Aiden Hutchinson, to be honest with you. I thought there was just more skills there. But watching his film, I enjoy it. I'm always excited to fire up Travon Walker film. This is now the 3rd time in the offseason that I've watched Travon Walker film because I wanted to have some notes prepared for what I was going to say. Maybe things that I missed on first watch. I try to keep extensive notes on my computer for plays so that I have an idea of what I want to say and try to package plays for you guys to see in succession. Getting back to my point about Walker and opportunities, I'd like to see him get as many opportunities on the edge because I think the Jags are going to be in the lead more often in 2023. I know they've got the playoff schedule, but they won a playoff game and played the Chiefs well. It was only 27-20 that they lost, I believe. I would like to see him get as many opportunities out there as possible so the Jags can hopefully give him a chance to get to 6-8 sacks this season, but let him stay true to his reads. I actually commend him for plays like that Lions play that I showed you from the standpoint. I do believe that either him or Foye-Oluokun's got to be on. Somebody's got to be on boot on run action away, and nobody was. So it's quite possible that it was Travon Walker. I have no idea, no way to know that because I'm not in their meeting rooms at all. So in any case, let me know what you guys think of Travon Walker in his rookie season. I know there's a lot of people out there who will say, we only had 3.5 sacks, so it's disappointing. I think there's a lot of good stuff on film, and he certainly did get a lot of plays on the field, except for those four games, 2 that he missed, and then 2 where he played low snap count, because I think he was dealing with an injury. If I remember correctly, it was an ankle, but I might be wrong. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section. If you're a Jags fan, you listen this long, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. If you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan, again, I appreciate you too. In any case, whoever you are, if you've listened this long and you enjoyed the video, please consider grabbing a link to this video and sharing it somewhere out on social media to help my video content get more reach.